The Legends of the Blue Boat. Chapter 1. Long ago, on a wondrous island somewhere in the ocean, there lived a little boy and a little girl. The two of them loved their island home. They were both excellent swimmers and could play with the dolphins whenever they liked. They swung from the tree branches with the monkeys and tried over and over to catch birds that always gathered along the shoreline. They chased away the sand crabs on the beach and tried to catch the deer in the tall grass that grew in nearly every corner of the island. The little boy and the little girl loved everything they could find on their beautiful island home. The weather was never harsh and always beckoned them outside at the start of every day. Exotic plants grew around every rock. Animals that never seemed to fear them lingered out of curiosity at every turn. The trees were so tall that they looked like they might touch the moon at night. The little boy especially loved to climb the trees in order to pluck coconuts from the branches at the top. The little girl was especially fond of the bright flowers that grew nearly everywhere on the island and was constantly selecting the best ones to bring home to her mother. The sand on the shoreline shimmered in the brilliant sun. They would race their friends up and down the beach, over the sand dunes into the tall grass and then back again to the sandy beach. They built castles in the sand every day, only to see them washed away by the tide. Then they would build another again the next day, taller than the castle they'd built the day before. They never worried about whether their clothes were too dirty to wear, or whether they needed to be home in time for dinner. They stayed out late whenever they could, and no one ever worried about where they might be or where they might go. But one night, after both of them had played out on the beach until the moon was high in the nighttime sky, their parents asked them to come inside. The mother and father were seated at the table. They were silent. Neither of them smiled. Their mother wiped away a tear as the two of them took their place at the table where they always gathered for their meals. Change was coming to the island, their parents told them. The water from the ocean was starting to rise every year and would soon cover the entire island. The little boy was confused. "How can that be?" he asked. The ocean was rising, his father told them. The water was getting warmer each and every year. The seas were rising very quickly. It was only a matter of time before the island was underwater. They must leave now before it was too late. The island they'd always loved would eventually disappear into the ocean, so they needed to find a new home. "Where will we go?" the little girl asked. They must leave the island, their parents told them, and travel to a distant land. They would need to build boats and take as much as they could with them and sail away to the east. "How long will the journey last?" the little boy asked. His parents didn't know. The farthest anyone from the island had ever gone was 3 days by boat in any direction from the island. Who or what would they find when they sailed away? The little girl asked. There were legends and rumours of a place very far from the island that their distant relatives had once visited, but they did not know for sure. All they knew was that they must leave. The little boy and the little girl had a difficult time going to sleep that night. They both talked and whispered until late at night, wondering what they might find on their new journey. But both of them vowed that night that they would always be there for each other, no matter what they faced or what adventures might lie in their path. They would forge their own way and create their own stories. They would never be scared as long as they were together. Little did they know how they would be tested in the days to come.